Like, yeah, know who I is? I is the minister son boy. I can't be late in no long line like all you common people. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Life Actually podcast. I'm your host Maria Lopes, and this is the 5th time I'm doing this intro, so I'm gonna get it right this time. I hope that the proportion of coffee creamer to your coffee is perfect for optimum deliciousness. Nailed it. Yeah, me personally, I always eyeball it, and one day it could come out great, and the next time it doesn't, which is pretty indicative to my life actually. That could be a metaphor. If you actually measure the ingredients, then you can guarantee success in your coffee. Just like if you have intentionality in your life, you are more likely to gain success. I'm a genius, and this is completely irrelevant to what this episode is actually about, so I'm gonna get to that. As you can see, I'm by myself today. No one to bounce off of, no one to fill in the gaps of my awkwardness, which is a little daunting, a little scary, but you'll have to bear with me as I get more and more comfortable on camera. So, thank you guys for that in advance. So, I know I'm a little late to this trend, but today we're going to be using ChatGPT and playing around with it a little bit. Yeah, when I say I'm late to this trend, I mean like a couple of months, but a couple of months is an eternity in internet time, so I am late nonetheless. I was playing with it a bit the other day, and I just stopped because I was like, I have to do this on camera because this is incredible. And it really begs the question of, in our modern society, what is our place in the world now that AI has actually been introduced? Because from what I see, it's doing some incredible stuff. It's doing everything from artwork to music to writing full essays. And it just makes you wonder, like, are the robots really going to be taking over one day? And I know everyone has always said that, like, in the past, and now is like the only time that I actually believe it, when you're seeing all the amazing stuff that it can do. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know what ChatGPT is, I'll do a quick little crash course for those who are too lazy to click on another video to find out, and who probably don't know. My grandparents. So yeah, it is basically an AI language assistant that can do anything from write essays to write stories to answer questions, anything word-based. And I was playing around with it the other day, like I said, and I thought this would be really fun to do on camera. So just to give you a little demonstration, I'm gonna type something totally random, and you can see to the extent of like how cohesive everything it says is. So let me think of something real quick. Hi, ChatGPT. Can you write a 100-word paragraph on the importance of regularly washing your belly button? Alright. Keeping your belly button clean is crucial for maintaining good hygiene and preventing infections. The belly button is an area of the body that is warm and moist, making it the ideal environment for a bacteria to grow. Can't read. If left unwashed, bacteria and other microorganisms can accumulate in the belly button, leading to unpleasant odors, itching, and even infections. Regularly washing your belly button with soap and water can prevent these issues and also remove any dead skin or dirt that may have accumulated. It only takes a few seconds to clean your belly button, but the benefits of doing so can be significant for your overall health and well-being. See, that is totally, like, comprehensive, and I remember they had us doing these little 100-word paragraphs, like, just when I was in school, but with something like this, who's to say that you didn't write this? Because it's essentially doing exactly what you would do, browsing the internet, or its database, in its case, and creating a cohesive piece in its own words. So, if you think about it, English class is like, what's the word? You don't even have to put in any effort. This is all doing it for you. But anyway. Now that we all familiar with what it is, let's do something fun with it. So guys, I thought it'd be fun if we created an entire goofy original character and asked ChatGPT to write a story about it. And what I really wanted to do is test the capabilities of its actual storytelling, because I probably mentioned on this podcast already that I love a good story, and to think that this thing is probably going to replace every author one day, it irks me a tiny bit. So let's see what it can actually do as of the year 2023. So let's see. Hey. And that's the funny thing too. I keep saying hi to it like it's a person, and I have to somehow respect it like it's a chat. So yeah, hi, Chat GPT. I was wondering if you could write me an original comedy story. Okay, let's see what it came up with. Once upon a time, okay, no, I gotta put on the professional narrator voice for this. Once upon a time, in a small town, there was a man named Bob who loved practical jokes. He was always looking for a way to make friends and family laugh. One day, Bob decided to play a prank on his neighbor, Mr. Johnson, who was known for being very serious and uptight. Bob sneaked into Mr. Johnson's garden and replaced all his flowers with plastic ones. The next morning, Mr. Johnson came out to water his plants and was shocked to find out they were all fake. He was so angry that he stormed over to Bob's house and demanded an explanation. Bob couldn't help but burst out laughing at the sight of Mr. Johnson's furious face, but then he noticed something strange. Mr. Johnson's tie was stuck in his pants zipper. Trying to suppress his laughter, Bob asked Mr. Johnson if he needed any help. Mr. Johnson was so angry that he didn't realize what was happening, so Bob discreetly helped him free his tie, all while trying to keep a straight face. Afterward, Mr. Johnson was still furious about the flowers, but Bob couldn't help but chuckle at the memory of Mr. Johnson's tie stuck in his zipper. From then on, Bob decided to stick to harmless pranks. He didn't want anyone to get too angry with him after all. So far, probably around a 4 out of 10 on the comedy scale, but I don't really expect an AI without emotions to be that good at comedy. So let's try something else. Let's take the same character Bob and put him in a dark and dramatic scenario. So let's see. Hi, Chat GPT. Can you put prankster Bob in a dark, dramatic scenario? Alright, here's what it came up with this time. Bob loved to play practical jokes on his friends and family, but one day he went too far. He thought it would be funny to pretend that his best friend Dave had been kidnapped. Bob sent Dave's wife a fake ransom note demanding a large sum of money in exchange for Dave's safe return. At first, Dave's wife thought it was just another one of Bob's pranks, but when Dave failed to show up at home that night, she started to panic. The next morning, Bob realized that his joke had gone too far when the police showed up at his door. They had traced the ransom note back to him and were now interrogating him about Dave's whereabouts. Bob tried to explain that it was just a prank gone wrong, but the police weren't laughing. They arrested him on charges of kidnapping and extortion, and he was now facing serious jail time. As Bob sat in his jail cell, he realized that his love of pranks had finally caught up with him. He felt guilty for what he'd done, and now he knew he had to make things right with Dave and his family. Eventually, Dave was found safe and unharmed, and Bob was released from jail with a criminal record. From that day on, he promised to never let his love of pranks get out of hand again, and he worked hard to regain the trust of his friends and family. Now this is just inaccurate. Pranksters never learn. Anyway, guys, I just had the greatest idea. Give me 1 second, alright? Okay guys, I've asked ChatGPT to write the greatest story that will ever be conceived on this earth. So what I asked it, hi ChatGPT, can you write a story about a Trinidadian character getting cut in line at a double stand, incorporating a lot of Trinidadian slang in the dialogue? So I'm gonna see how well ChatGPT responds to writing stories about something as, I don't know, what's the word, niche? As authentic Trinidadian slang and character situations. So if this accurately captures the essence of what the scenario would be like in real life, I relinquish all writing to AI from now on. And now I will attempt to narrate said story. But the problem is, you see, I was born and raised right here in Trinidad, but the problem is, I don't sound like one. I sound like I was raised somewhere else, and people recognize that when they first meet me. They always have to ask where I'm from. So, I really hope I don't offend an entire nation just by narrating this story. But I will do anything for my viewers, and if you guys would like to have a laugh at my expense, I will do that for you. So, let's read this. Dion was eagerly waiting in line at the double stand for his favorite breakfast snack. He had been craving it all morning and couldn't wait to sink his teeth into the spicy fried goodness. As soon as he got closer to the front of the line, he felt his mouth start to water in anticipation. But just as he was about to place his order, a young man pushed his way in front of him, shouting, "Oh my god. I can't do this. This is so embarrassing." Okay. "Let me get 2 doubles and a solo now, and a hurry." Guys, I can't, but we must go on. Okay. Dion was taken aback by the guy's rudeness and couldn't believe that he had the nerve to cut in line by that. He decided to speak up and said, "Excuse me, boss man, but the line stopped back there, so you have to wait like everybody else." The young man just rolled his eyes and replied, "Like, yeah, know who I is? I is the minister, son boy. I can't be late in no long line like all you common people." Dion wasn't impressed by the guy's status and shot back, "Well, in that case, your father should have teach you some manners. You can't just cut a line and expect to get served before everybody else. That is not how things does work around here." The other customers in line started to murmur in agreement, and the young man realized that he wasn't going to get away with his rude behavior. He reluctantly stepped back in line and waited his turn like everyone else. Dion felt a sense of satisfaction as he finally got to place his order for the delicious doubles. He knew that Trinis didn't take kindly to people cutting in line, and that everyone had to wait their turn, no matter who they were. As he walked away with his hot, tasty snack, he couldn't help but smile at the thought of putting the rude guy in place. The end. Well guys, you have probably just single-handedly witnessed the most embarrassing moment of my online career. If anything does top that, I will be thoroughly impressed. But thank you for making it this far in this episode anyway. So, what can we infer from this episode? AI is pretty advanced, but I still think it has a long way to go in terms of replacing the great work that artists do. And I feel like there's not really anything that can replace the human element in an art piece, because as long as they're putting effort into it, it's something that comes from their heart. And like I said, I don't think that's something that can be easily replicated by an AI that, in its own words, doesn't feel any emotions. And with that being said, I think I can use that to sort of motivate you a bit and say, whatever sort of art or passion that you may have, whether it be cooking, dancing, art pieces, or even writing, I think that you should go ahead and do it. Even if it's not perfect, it will still be an authentic representation of what is in the core of your soul, and that's unique completely to you, and that's something I think the world needs to see. So, thank you guys so much for joining me this episode, and I hope you stay tuned for more to come. I'm really excited to embark on this journey with you guys. So, peace. I went to like a family gathering in that one time. I swear everyone looked at me like I was wearing a sombrero. And I'm like, I thought that this would have been like a nice baby step to like thinking about my style. But like, I'm telling you, people are not, Trinidadians are creatures of habit, basically.